And on that note,
Yeah.
let's go to black. Get it?
Oh my God. I almost choked. Get it?
Get it?
Yeah, we got it. We got it. Oh.
Hey, it's me, Erin. Thanks for joining us on the More Love podcast. Do not tell Rebecca, but this podcast is about empathy. She likes people to think she's dead inside, but the truth is she's a big-time feeler who has truly helped me uncover that empathy is my superpower. Oh, here she comes.
Hey, bestie.
Hi, love.
What are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready to host a podcast.
A podcast? About what?
Life. Our life as best friends, who are more like sisters.
Yay! I love us, and I can't wait to share our stories with the world.
Especially the ones that involve us pushing each other, right? To be our most authentic selves.
Oh, man. Okay.
Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Oh, Valentine.
This is my favorite holiday. My favorite holiday. The best thing is Sawyer wakes up this morning and she runs out to the kitchen. She's like, where are my presents?
Presents?
I was like, because I always give, because they know Valentine's is my favorite.
It, Arbor Day or something?
And I always give them presents, and I didn't put them out yet. But that's the first thing she said. I was like, really?
Yeah. Yep.
I can't.
Yep.
I can't.
I went downstairs this morning and I had a like a candy bar behind my back that I had bought for Carter. And I said, Carter, will you be my Valentine? And I'm like, you know, he's 9 now.
Right. And mom's not as cool. I mean, in private, it's probably fine. But if you were to try to do that at school,
oh, no.
No.
So
Certain
I got my
death.
hand behind my back and he goes, I don't think I can. Grandma already asked. And also I got the dog.
Oh,
This is me.
Get in line, Mom.
This is me standing there with a handy bar behind my back. And I'm like,
all right, then. Guess I'll give it to someone else.
well, okay. I guess I'll just take this and have it for myself. He's like, no, Mom. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You could be my Valentine. What'd you get? What'd you get me? I said, that's not how I show love. Turned right around, went right back upstairs. Little ass.
I swear.
Grandma already asked, and I got the dog.
Oh, my God.
June's my Valentine.
Oh, my God.
Oh, okay, great. Could I maybe be third after the dog?
Oh, my God.
Whatever.
So, in a turn of events, Taylor last week, her and I were at Wegmans, and she must have taken a picture of a nice little bouquet. And sent it to Daddy Dad's.
Okay.
And last night, Philip walks up the stairs with the bouquet of flowers from the Wegmans.
Stop.
And he's like, Happy Valentine's Day. I go, A, day early. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
2, he's like, I had to go and ask the lady because Taylor sent me a picture and I wanted to get the exact one.
Taylor,
I know.
good job.
I know, Tatey Bug. And she looks at me and she goes,
Yeah, she's like, I got this, Mom. I got this.
Which Sawyer and I had gone to Aldi together and bought our own roses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we knew there was a 50% chance.
Absolutely.
It wasn't going to happen. And to top it all off, Philip had somebody in his family pass away yesterday. So the fact that he was dealing with all of that and went out of his way to go to Wegmans.
Yes.
And spend his own money.
Yes. Yeah. Right. I know. So now you have like...
I know. And yes, he knows this is my favorite holiday. It's still going. Okay.
That one gets the entire length of the clap sound.
Wow. Yeah, because he nailed it. He nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now you have 16 bouquets of flowers.
I know, that's right. But you know me, I love flowers.
Some and,
Which I promptly had to spray. I promptly had to put pepper all over them because the cat went right to eat them.
Pepper on the flowers?
What?
Mm-hmm. If I put pepper, like black pepper on the flowers, he won't eat them.
Your cat eats the flowers?
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Well, Gilbert, I bought myself some flowers the other day, and I always put them on my kitchen island next to my sink because that's where I see them most often.
Because that's where we always put the flowers because we can't think to put them anywhere else.
Stop it! So what? So what? Okay.
Because they went there once, so they
Wait,
must
and
go
I
there
liked them there,
all
and
the
now
time.
I feel comfortable with them being there. Whatever. Let me have my story. My story is I just randomly put them there because I see them all the time. So what if the answer is that's where they go?
Right.
That's their place. Whatever. Anyway, what happened? Gilbert went right over to them, and I went back to my office. And of course, I don't know that he's up there gnawing on my flowers, but that's what he does.
I hate him.
And Mark comes into my office a little while later and goes, "Why is there throw up on the counter?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "There's a huge pool of throw up all over the counter."
But he threw up on the counter. So my asshole cats go right over to my brand new rug and throw up on it. I got hardwoods and tile and shit, but they throw up right on the new rug.
Carpet. Yep.
See, that's why my house is a shithole, because I know that it's going to be ruined, so why make it better?
Oh, that's your philosophy. Okay.
Yeah. That's good.
I mean, that's a choice.
That's not mediocrity at all. That's fine. That's totally fine.
Oh, I am the poster child for mediocrity.
Oh, well, I think that we should give a little Valentine's to somebody else.
Okay.
Scott,
I love it.
it's time for you to come in here.
Stop. Scott.
In there?
Yep.
I didn't set up for this.
Doesn't matter. You just need to come in.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We need you.
All right.
Jeeves. In here.
Jeeves. We need you. So, anyway, we feel, because this is the More Love podcast. Please come in.
I love that.
Jeeves.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Jeeves.
Yes.
Please come
Jeeves.
in. Do you want to share Aaron's microphone?
Yeah, come on over. Come on over, Scott.
We love Valentine's Day, and we wanted to give you this bear cub bouquet of flowers.
Oh,
This is for you. Can you hand it to him?
Yep. And Kelly, if Scott gives this to you later, it's from him.
Okay. That's right.
Totally fine. We got you some
picked them out.
flowers.
Yes. So Sawyer helped me. I said, Sawyer, we're gonna buy Scott some flowers for Valentine's Day. She's like, who's Scott? I go, he's our podcast partner. She's like, okay. I go, we got to find manly flowers. She's like, yeah, let's look for some black and blue ones. I'm like, yeah, no. So she picked.
Says love like
Nothing says Valentine's Day.
So she picked those, and then I go, we got to find something manly to put it in, and she picked that.
Wow. So it's as manly as it comes right there.
I mean, there was a whole lot of choices there,
Yeah.
but your little bear cub. But wait, we're not done.
We're not done. We're not done.
I suck because I didn't get you guys anything.
No.
Oh, it's fine.
This was all part of the plan.
Scott, listen, we're used to this.
Oh, good.
You don't think we're used to this? Oh, I'm sorry.
Here's
a
the other.
disappointing Valentine's
That's
Day.
right.
No one gives a shit.
No,
It's fine, Scott.
I didn't even give Erin anything except for I called her and serenaded her this morning. It's fine.
Now
But
this, we also got
know
you.
it's
we
your
know
birthday.
you love some Dunkin'. And we did not at all want this day to go by without you participating and having some Dunkin'.
But this is a birthday
you gotta
present.
open this right here on the
air.
on the YouTubes here.
On the air.
Yes. Yes.
So, should we sing happy birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Scott. Happy birthday to you.
Oh wow! That's awesome!
Aww.
Look at that.
Look, we got you some Dunkin'
We got
Donuts, some snackin' bacon
Some snacking
in there.
bacon in the disguise of wearable.
Look at that.
Do you like it?
Oh, do you love that?
Do you like it?
Absolutely love it.
So Scott is currently holding a T-shirt from Imperfect by Kelly, soon to be a website once we get around to it. And on the front, we have a heart, and in one half of the heart is the rock. Do you like this?
I like that.
That's
Do you like this
yeah.
right here? Do
You look like a
this?
snake.
It's fine. So at the top here, we have the Rock Fox. Oops, over here. Rock Fox logo, the little microphone. And then on the other side, we have the Empathic Edge logo, which is Rebecca and ours new business that we're running. And then on the back, Imperfect by Kelly wrote, "More love, loves Rock Fox."
That's so awesome.
So
That is so awesome.
there's
So
your
happy
snackin'-
birthday.
There's your snackin'
There's your snackin'
bacon,
bacon.
from Duncan. Happy 40th birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday.
For the 11th time.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy birthday. Happy snack and bacon.
All right, now back to the
Back to the show.
That's made by Pause while Scott goes back to the station.
Goes back to his portal.
Yeah, that was made by Imperfect by Kelly, soon to be a website. Kelly up the street with her, was it Circuit or a Cricket? A Cricket. I always get those mixed up.
So fun. So fun. Oh my goodness. I'm very sick.
Yeah.
I know. It's not good.
But at least you're getting it out of your system now.
I know.
Before we leave for the cruise, which destination, we have no clue where we're going.
No, right. We leave next week.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. I've already started my purchases.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
We need to go back to the Amazon board that you made.
I know. We should probably do that this afternoon.
What it is that we need to do.
That we need to order because we're in our window now. So now's the time.
Oh, the return window?
Yep.
Okay, good.
So
that's good.
Now is the time.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited, but I'm doing all the things to get better because I down and out, man.
No.
It's not
but
COVID.
I'll tell you know what really helps? Sun.
I know. It'll be so much better.
But if you give it to me today and then I get it for the crux of the trip,
I'll never hear
I'm going to be really pissed off.
I'll never hear the end of it. I know.
So,
you know what's funny? As I was feel
that's
that?
good. Yeah.
Right down
actually, that made my nose and nose cavities want to snuff out.
But this is how cheap I am. I was thinking of what suitcase I was going to take because I have an array. And we're taking Southwest down there, which you get 2 free bags to check.
Oh.
Which is great, except we're taking Delta on the way back, and we have to pay for that. So in my mind, I'm like,
Ooh.
I know. There was a lot of...
Wow, that's really advanced coordination that you thought of there.
Well, you know me. I think things all the way through and then make decisions based on all the things.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of trying to figure out if I'm going to check a bag or not. I know.
Now, I'll tell you this. Every time I've been on a cruise, I've gone very well prepared for all of nature's elements. And I've pretty much worn the same 2 outfits the entire 7 days.
But that's you. You look back on our podcast. You wear the exact same outfit every single time. I don't think I've worn the same thing twice. So that's just, I got to bring all the things.
I noticed you have a heart on this morning.
A heart? Yeah, I do. It's true. It's Valentine's Day.
A whole bunch of hearts on.
That's right.
I was going to wear my heart sweatshirt, and then I decided I'm just going to wear pink instead.
Oh.
Yeah. I have a important, not interview, but webcast that I'm doing this afternoon, and it's not appropriate to wear a sweatshirt. And you also know me well enough that if I put the sweatshirt on in the morning, I'm not changing into something else.
Right.
So I had to dress for the webcast.
Oh, okay.
So that I didn't have to add that level of anxiety into my day about having to switch outfits.
I can't. You crack me up.
It's fine. We are who we are.
It's true. It's
through
true.
and through.
I like every second of that.
So do you have a good hippie voo pull for our Valentine's Day? Or no?
I mean, it doesn't look good from the picture. I mean, it doesn't look lovey, but maybe it is.
Okay.
It's a dinosaur or an alligator. What is that?
Yeah, I think that's an alligator or a crocodile. I don't know the difference between the two. I think their snouts are a little different, so I bet it's an alligator.
It's the 7 of Wands. Oh, guess what, everybody? I told you this, but I didn't tell our listeners. I've officially signed up for a tarot reading class. So I'm going to learn all the things so I can actually talk about this like I know what I'm doing instead of just pulling a card. I'm so excited. So it's like a 25-hour class that I'm going to participate in.
25 hours?
It's something like that. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's like a self-paced type thing. So you can do it on your own, but it's really cool. And it comes with a whole bunch of resources.
Wow. And are you going to use your Miss Cleo cards?
I don't have those. That was when we went to that.
Yes, you do.
No, that was when we went to the tarot reading class and they let us borrow them.
Oh, that wasn't yours? You didn't bring that? Oh, I used those.
Hilarious.
Yeah. All right. So you pulled some. Do you need me to read it today? You do.
Yeah.
You're struggling.
I know. The more I talk, the more I'm going to cough.
Okay.
I did take a lot of drugs.
Hand it to me. I got my glasses on. I don't.
Good.
I don't.
What else do you need?
7 of Wands. I don't know. I felt like I needed to have the card
small
too.
Glasses. I can't see them.
Yeah. Monikers. Is that what they're called?
A monocle?
No, that's the one.
Eye?
The one eye.
A moniker is a name.
Oh,
I got the heart on, and you got the one eye. It's fine.
Oh.
Okay. So, well, Valentine's Day, 7 of Wands. That's what we're doing? Okay.
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Something or someone is thwarting your progress. Oh. Don't let it get to you. You're in the right place, and you don't need to yield your personal power to anyone or anything.
I love it.
Stand your ground. Prove your worth. And swat away any temptations to back down or compromise.
Okay.
Anyone not on board with the You program is clearly meant to be at a different conference. Didn't they check the big sign in the lobby? No free pens or branded visors for them.
People with a red ribbon. Go to conference room A.
Hey, I've known you long enough to start to get some of your inside jokes.
Oh my God. Wow, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It does that. Okay. So something is thwarting our process. And it's, a part of this really relates a lot with me way back about 6 to 8 months ago. I really am doing a great job with the English language
today. Are you hunting wabbits today?
Apparently. Where I was struggling with giving myself the grace to make mistakes, to understand that my power was in making decisions for our team and not giving that power away. But I feel like I'm in a really great place with that now, having sort of reclaimed some of that power back. And so it's interesting that it would come up now. I'm hoping that it's not a little precursor into what's to come and falling back into old behaviors. Does it relate to you at all?
My brain is so foggy right now that possibly
you're thinking about SeaWorld. Like you're not even in your own hippie view.
I'm just thinking about how I haven't been this sick in a long time. I think that it's a reminder for me. I'm not good at remembering that I have experience, I have an arsenal, I have the capability, I have the experience to be an authority in spaces where I have proven myself. And so sometimes when I'm around other people who appear to be more successful or appear to have more credentials than I do, I tend to be like, oh, what I bring to the table doesn't matter as much. But at the same time, that's not always in the forefront of my mind. In the forefront of my mind is I just shoot out all kinds of things, right? But then when the shame and the guilt come in for no reason at all, sometimes it just does. That's when I reel. So maybe it's just a good reminder.
Okay. I feel like this relates with you a lot, Scott. Maybe this was a card for you.
Yeah, I'm with you. Right when you read that, I was like, yep.
Okay. Tell us more if you want to. And why aren't you in the bubble?
First, I want to tell you
And
that the shirt fits wonderful.
Oh, perfect. Wow, and it's an extra small too, Scott.
Right.
Way to go.
Why didn't you?
It's really great.
Why didn't you change on camera?
Why?
It is Valentine's Day.
We want the viewership and listenership to go up.
Oh,
well,
I mean,
there's many reasons why viewer listenership.
If we have a large bear population that starts to like us.
That's so true. Or people that are like, oh my God, look at that. What the hell is that in that bubble? What is going on in there?
Please, girls, don't bring them any more snackin bacon.
This shirt looks so good. Can you turn around? I want to see the back.
Hold on. Well, I should put the...
Oh my God, look at how good it looks.
I can't turn around.
Oh, I can see it though.
Yeah, that looks great.
Oh my God, it looks so good.
Seriously, like he's in a submarine.
We're joking around, but I am like so incredibly touched by this. Like that was funny. We both did the same head tilt.
We are. That's because we share souls.
I've got the flowers, and I'm not too proud to accept flowers.
Good.
Like, this is awesome. This
Yay.
is so nice, and the T-shirt is amazing.
Yay!
And I've literally had the shittiest week in recent memory. So this really means a lot.
Wow. We love you, and we're so excited that you're in our lives, and you mean so much to us that this is only a little bit of what we can do to show you our appreciation.
It's likewise. And I actually texted this to Erin last night. I was like, thank you so much for making this process like so easy. We joke around about how like you're a pain in the ass and stuff like that, but you're really not.
He's talking about
one
you.
of you.
It's fine.
Either one of you.
I'm actually offended that you only texted her.
He was texting me.
What the hell?
And
Well, because it was about.
You needed to process some stuff about your pain in the ass.
Oh, I'm the annoying one? Okay.
So,
you know what?
The reason why I texted Erin is because she does the reviewing, and it's specifically about reviewing.
Aw.
So because I have some of those opposites happening where it's like, oh God, how am I going to get through this?
Can we be a little surprised that I am not more of a pain in the ass when it comes to the reviewing? Because
why?
I would fully expect that I would be like, I need this cut and this changed, and I noticed that I had a flyaway here, and this needs to happen, and I would fully expect that would be my personality, and I'm not.
I think because what you're doing is magic on this show. I really do. I really believe in your chemistry and the three of us, but mostly you two.
I mean, we do have a lot of chemistry.
But and look, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag about stuff that we're working on, but those possibilities are still being considered.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because others see that too.
Yeah.
It's
You know how validating that is?
It's so nice. Like when I projected my life as a young kid, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be a soccer mom. 1. 2, never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd find a soulmate who's another woman who we do life with. That was not even close. I mean, I didn't even think I'd have a friend, let alone someone this close. You know what I mean? Like, and to experience this kind of level. My daughter last night, again, she is going through something with her friends, and she comes to me and she's like, Mom, these girls can't communicate. And she facilitated like a restorative circle between her and her friends. And she comes out with tears in her eyes and she's like, Mom, I think I just, helped solve a conflict. And these girls are all like, what are you doing? And I said, you need to follow up those texts by saying, ladies, this is how we grow. This is how we effectively communicate. And Taylor goes, and this is how we make deeper relationships. And then she goes, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I said, honey, I know. But I go, if you want that level, that unfortunately you're going to have to take the reins. And, I feel her, and I'm so excited that we can role model that for her because she is an older spirit. You all know, you saw her, but yeah. So Scott, we wanted you to cry. That was our hope.
Let's frame.
But in all seriousness, I'm a crier. The Fitzgeralds are criers. Like my dad will be watching a movie and he'll just start bawling about it. So, but I've done so much crying in the last week that I don't know if I have enough left.
I get that.
I'm like, it's like wringing out that washcloth. It's done.
Yeah.
But you guys were so great helping me through that whole process. And it's kind of interesting for me because now it's like when something happens in my life, there's 3 people that I text right away, and you're 2 of them.
Stop. Stop it.
Stop it right now.
I'm serious. What is that? You looked like you were stroking out there for a second.
Because I can't. This is too much.
Her face.
I can't.
That's her face when emotion is happening.
I can't.
That's what
I don't
happens.
like this feeling.
I love every second of it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It was my idea to make the shirt.
There it is.
I just want to let y'all know
you guys are really, I'm like taking a back seat in this moment intentionally because I'm usually the one who leads with the empathy and the love. And I'm really impressed by the way that the two of you are openly communicating your feelings.
Maybe we're learning something.
It's really nice. It's very nice. Stop shaking your head and rolling your eyes. It's very beautiful.
Do it again, Rebecca. Let's like really get in
Do
there.
you just do a close up on my boobs?
This is it's really nice. It's very, very sweet. And I appreciate that. And the reality is, Scott, we 100% know you well enough to know that Rebecca said at least 3 times, this is going to be super meaningful to Scott. And yes, the flowers are going to be great because it's Valentine's Day. But what's really going to hit him is the Rock Fox with the more love in this T-shirt. And so it's more than just the shirt, right? It's like, God, we see you. We know you, right? We understand all of the ins and outs of who you are as a person. And we've said many times, there is not many other people in the world that could be a third on this podcast.
No.
As you've seen from the poor guests that we've had on. And that we have the guests, and then I'm like, listen, I got a clip of the guest saying something like really great, and then the guest is like, so I'm about to say something profound, and you're like, I gotta tell you something about this story this one time, and then we're on a roll, and then I'm like, oh my God, the poor guest didn't get to talk. It's fine.
I know, it's my fault.
Do you want to be a guest on the show? You'll talk for a total of 14 seconds. Well, thanks for being on the show.
I know.
So
it's my fault.
It's hard, right? But you're the perfect mixture of understanding both of us and not being so like invasively insertive that people are like, holy shit, it's the 3 of them on a podcast. It's more like you just know the right timing to come in and like add your flair.
Right.
And I think that chemistry
so cool.
is just can't be taught, right?
No,
That's just a thing.
And you get our sense of humor and you never bat an eye, which is also impressive because we're a hot mess.
Yeah.
Mess.
Yeah. I made a joke to Rebecca yesterday that was so incredibly inappropriate that we were on FaceTime for the 4,000th time during the day. And I made a comment that she picked up on my comment within about 4 seconds. And then she did the normal face she does, which is the, oh my God. And then we both started cracking up to the point where tears were streaming down our face.
Now, is this going to be something that can't be repeated?
Correct.
Because
not a chance in hell. We'll tell you when we're off the air. Not a chance in hell.
There's no way. But I think that's beautiful. And so this is also a good framing into a conversation that Rebecca and I had yesterday that we have to talk with you about, Scott.
Uh-oh.
See? Welcome to my world.
That's one of those.
Welcome to my world. That's right. So this is the More Love Scott show.
I don't want anything about the shirt to be misconstrued. That plan was put in place before the conversation that Rebecca and I had yesterday, because otherwise it's going to seem after I say what I'm about to say that we intentionally did it.
We've been working on that shirt for at least a month.
Yeah, when I say we mean Kelly up the street. Right. So the other day, 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday, Rebecca calls me and she says, I need to ask you a question. I said, great. I'm here for all of it. And she says, do you have a reaction when Scott has something on his Facebook page that's with another podcast guest?
In our room.
And I said, absolutely. They absolutely do. She's like, oh, thank God.
And then but it's specifically when they're sitting in your seat in our room.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we need to process this with you, Scott, on today's show. So Rebecca and I, as we processed it, I gave her the conclusion about why we came to this. So I'll save that, for the end. But the reality is, when you post on your Facebook page that you have a relationship with anyone except for us, we don't like that.
It makes us feel really bad about ourselves.
And We understand logically that your business requires you to have relationships
with all of your clients.
Other people.
And I'm sure those people are really great. However.
And no, you're not sure. Let's not.
Pause.
Pause.
I am
for
sure.
a minute and let's be real clear, right?
What?
This is honesty hour. This is honesty hour on the More Love podcast.
Okay.
We're not clear that those people are great. In fact, we assume that they're subpar and that the only reason they have to be on the Facebook page is for Scott's business. Okay? There's no part of us that's like, oh my God, I bet they have a rockin' good podcast, because human nature is to say, sure, their podcast is fine, right? But if they had a rockin' good podcast, we would probably not like them even more.
Oh, yeah, because they're a threat?
Oh, yeah, because then we're like, well, how many posts did Scott post with that lady or with that guy, right? Now, so then we processed it a bit further, Scott. And we recognized
these are our calls. Erin, I was triggered by Scott's post. There is another woman on it.
Yes. And so then
in your chair.
We were able to come full circle. Well, first, maybe I should make space for you to say anything you'd like to say.
Yeah.
About
this is your chance, Scott.
Is there anything that you'd like to say?
And it better not offend us.
About this?
No, I get it.
Oh, you do?
I absolutely get it.
What does that mean? You don't like when I tag Rebecca and post and forget to post you? What do you mean? It's fine.
No, I understand where you're coming from. And, you know, I even said this yesterday as we were starting a new podcast in that room, 2 new podcasts starting in that room. I said, we have to change this room around because I don't want everybody's podcast to look like More Love.
Why? Because we've taken the aura and the energy of this room.
Wait a minute, this is going downhill really fast.
No.
What do you mean?
Because you two inspired the setup in that room.
Stop it.
I put that room together specifically for your show.
Stop
and
it.
Everybody loved it. And so the other room that I just spent $18,000 to get redone, I've used it like 4 times.
I said that to Erin yesterday.
Since October.
I go, why the hell is no one in the other room?
Yeah, so that was part of her process, Scott.
Because I was really upset about people being in her chair.
People, okay, interesting. It was about my chair.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. That's good to know, right? Okay.
And you got rid of the black cock.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna find a place for it.
Okay, good.
Erin and I did discuss that, and
I know we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
I meant to hang it again, but I forgot. I apologize.
All right, well, we're gonna talk about that again in a minute, but
it's okay.
You really did design this. We were only here for a hot minute. Then you decided we need our own space.
It used to be a legacy.
So
room,
yeah, so
right?
So that room was used for different projects for different type of videos that I really wasn't selling. I've done a handful in 5 years, and I was like, this room is going to waste. It's bigger. It offers me a better camera angle and a better look. And I can decorate it better. The other room it's where we started.
It's still a good room.
And yeah, it's a great room. And it's great for audio too.
This is the time to bring in the fact that I had a massive reaction when we switched rooms.
I know. But that's only because we started there and you can't deviate.
Yeah, I understand that now. I didn't understand that in the moment.
But when you saw the room, you were like...
The first time I sat in this chair, I said, this ain't it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Not based on the look or anything. It was just, she just struggles with change.
Because I don't like change. Now we know that. Now, right. If you were to move me back to that other room, I'd be like,
not going to happen.
And we couldn't do the show in that room.
Why?
Because we've already created an aesthetic with your show that we could not do in that room.
It'd be too sterile.
It just wouldn't be. Yeah. It wouldn't be right. This show, whether most of it was luck or not, it has a signature look, and that's why I'm trying to figure out ways to change it for other shows, because yes, this is a business, and my business is about doing podcasts for people, but unfortunately I don't have a 20-room building or a big soundstage where I can build sets and change things around.
How many followers did we need to get before this is officially just our room?
Well, that's more of a revenue question. So
great. No problem.
If we're able to make enough revenue so that I can rent the room down the hall.
Yeah, great.
Then that becomes our own room?
Then that
Right.
will be the other studio for
Setting
everybody
goals.
else.
Setting goals.
So
That's totally fine. That's
I'm
totally
down
fine.
for that.
Yeah, we're all good with that. But why this is why this is important, right? So all of these emotions are completely normal. It's completely fine for Rebecca to call and say, I don't really like that I'm having a reaction that Scott tagged someone else in a YouTube and they're in our room and she's sitting in your chair or he's sitting in your chair and I don't like that. And is that normal? And my response was, oh, absolutely. I felt that way too, right? So I think what's important about this is if we don't make space to have these conversations and to be like, wow, I noticed I had a reaction. And then through the course of that conversation and talking with you, Scott, what I ultimately said to Rebecca is this is a conversation about wanting to be meaningful, wanting to have purpose and value, in this case, in Scott's life, and to be somehow differentiated because we want that worth and that value to be as important to Scott as it is to us. And you made such an interesting point at that part of the conversation because you said, do you think we're his favorite podcast? Now, we say that in jest most of the time. And of course, my response was, yeah. Yeah.
No one else farts in your chair. No one else.
Of course we would be, right?
Yeah.
But it's totally true to Rebecca's personhood to want to know, are we his favorite podcast? And then she followed the question up with me, how do you know? Right? That's also totally in Rebecca's personhood to want to know, show me the proof. Right. This is why when we go to the escape rooms and she says, I need you to tell me until I tell you to stop all the things that I did well in the escape room, right? Show me the proof. Tell me why you know these things to be true. It's not just enough. You don't just accept on face value that someone says you're my favorite podcast.
And it's not an ego boost.
No.
It's not about that.
No.
It's not about that at all. It's yes.
Yes.
And it's honesty and truth because it's completely fine.
Yep.
Completely fine.
Yep.
If we're not.
Yep.
But what I can't handle is fakeness. I can't handle ego boosting. I can't handle.
Don't lie to me.
Right.
Don't tell me I'm your
handle
favorite.
what I'm with the input that's coming in.
Yep.
And then I turn around and see something that feels very different.
Yep.
That for me is very hard to come back from.
Yep.
That is my ultimate vulnerability.
And
right?
because you care so much about the relationship with Scott, you want to get ahead of the fact that we're clarifying with him if we are not his favorite or if he has to have multiple favorites. Right. Tell me that now because I don't want that to impact our relationship later on.
I just need to know. Just tell me.
Yes.
It's totally fine.
Yes.
But that's
yes.
This is the show I've always wanted. No, I am not blowing smoke here. This is the show when I did mornings on Fickle 93.3 here in Rochester, New York. WFKL Rochester.
Thanks for calling Fickle 93.3. Who's our caller today? Oh,
it was just a solo. It was a solo show. It was just me. And every once in a while when the traffic guy came in, we got to banter and it was a lot of fun. But I always dreamed of having a setup like this with two really strong, funny hosts and me being a third mic producer.
I love that.
Like that's if we were on the radio, that's what this situation would be.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God, watch out, Breezy.
We're going down that road, yeah.
Watch out, Breezy. Here we go,
Breezy. Watch out, Breezy. We're coming for you.
I'm telling you right now that all it would take was somebody with a little vision in Rochester, and obviously we'd have to figure logistics, but if this show were able to be on the morning, on any of the radio stations, like from 6 to 10 in the morning, you'd kill. I'm telling you, you would kill. I know it from the bottom of my heart.
That's so sweet.
It just would. I know it. And that's why I go around and I always say, that's why I was, contacting people saying, listen to this, look, and everybody says, wow, they've got great chemistry. This is a great,
He's our biggest hype girl.
I know.
Scott's our biggest hype girl. I know.
But yeah, so, sure, I'm supportive of all the podcasters here, at the studio, but this is the only one where I'm very much a part of the show, and I can tell that we're a team on this show as its own entity. Apart from you being my clients, now we're more partners in it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
what did I say to you yesterday when we were having this conversation and you said, how do you know that Scott likes us the best? How do you know? Do you remember what I said to you? I love that. Thank you for listening.
I don't remember having any conversations with you.
I feel
my brain is
You don't
full
even remember
of
the conversation?
I remember the one part we're not supposed to talk about.
Oh. Okay.
My brain is full of mucus.
Great. Then let me remind you what I said to you.
Okay.
I said, Scott would tell you that this is a partnership. Scott would tell you that what is probably different between More Love and the rest of the shows is the fact that we see him, we make sure he's included, we make sure that he is a part of what it is that we are doing. And at the end of the day, that's valuable and important to Scott, because Scott also wants to feel I have something to contribute and I can do so. I don't need to be, in the room with you while we're having that conversation, but I have things that I can contribute to this and you're speaking my language, right? So it's meaningful to me, Scott, that you just said that, because I tend to, whereas I might be a little slow in the, getting to places that you are already at. What I am very quick at is my judgment of people, my judgment of character, my awareness of what's going on in a situation. My EQ in that case is very
you read in
high.
between the lines.
Very
Yes,
much so.
100%.
And I've had that pinned for you, Scott, from the very beginning, that you're a very kind, sensitive, caring soul. You don't want to hurt anyone ever.
Yeah.
And you will take it on the chin over and over and over and over again for the sake of making sure that someone else is okay.
Yeah.
And where I think that beautifully fits in to us is that what we really, our mission at the end of the day is love, be loved, talk about the hard stuff, change the relationships that you have with people. Don't change the person that you are,
right?
But understand that boundaries and self-worth is a really important part of that entire equation.
You've been my boundary coach. You really have.
Not me, her.
Yeah.
No. well, because Erin's the only one out of my clients who says, that's not true. A lot of my clients will say, is this okay? And I, of course, always say yes for the most part, unless it's completely out of the question. But even then, I'm going to guess you still say okay. I'm bending over backwards as much as I can, a lot of times to my detriment.
Yep.
Like I didn't get out of here until 11:30 last night.
Oh yeah.
And I got here at 7. So it was a long freaking day.
Yeah.
And that's my doing, because I said yes to things that I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But that's what you do, is you say it's totally okay. Like you were asking me about a clip for the Christie episode.
Yeah.
And you said, can you pull a clip? And I'm like, yeah.
No, that's not how you said it. Nope. You said, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is good. This is an important part of the conversation.
Yes, because I always want to put that across that I'm the can-do person.
Yeah.
That I'm always the, I even said it.
But
I'm the yes man.
Here's what I'm going to say. What you should have said is, maybe tell me what you're looking for. And then allow her to elaborate.
And he wouldn't.
Why?
Because he's at the stage of his journey where the more intensified our relationship becomes.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that to sound as like sexual as it did. But
nobody thinks that.
The more
you
intensified our meaningful our relationship becomes, that is directly related with Scott's desire to do. So even if you have no relationship whatsoever, he's still going to overdo for you. But now that you're in the inner circle, he just said, you're one of 3 people I will contact with the deepest, darkest things that are happening in my life. There's no way he's going to save himself from saying yes. And that's a reverse relationship for many people, because you would think that the more inner circle and connected that you would get with people, the more likely you are to set a boundary or to say, that won't work for me because it feels safer for you.
But it comes, again, Scott and I are very similar. It comes back to, well, if I say no, does that mean that she's going to start pulling back and not want to come in here as much?
Yes.
And not include me as much and all of those things. 100%. I get all of that.
I don't want to disappoint anyone. I don't want them to. Right. It bothers me if someone else has a problem with me.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the problem is theirs.
Right.
And I didn't do anything. I've had people that had problems with me for whatever reason, and it eats me up. And I'm like, why don't you like me? What did I do? I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I was just, and it's so hard to let go of that.
Yep.
And that's such a core human thing.
Yeah.
Right? For me, I call that, I don't like to be misunderstood. That's different for me than I don't want people to not like me. I really lead with my best self as often as I possibly can. And when I'm not leading with my best self, I'm really trying to take ownership for the fact that I didn't. When that's misunderstood or someone doesn't see me in that way, I struggle with that because I'm really trying to put myself out there in a way that is caring and genuine and supportive. Right? There's a difference for me in being misunderstood and what you just said, Scott, which is I don't like when people have a problem with me. Right?
Yeah.
And the common denominator difference in those two things, in my opinion, is self-esteem, confidence, self-worth, and having past experiences that have confirmed for you that it's okay to be yourself, even if that's not going to be accepted or liked or whatever by other people.
But I also think that's where it's really important. Like, that's why you say to Scott, it's okay to say no. Please just say no.
Right.
I'm only asking because I'm asking. If I don't ask, then I don't know the answer. But I need you to know it's okay to say no. I always say things like that. I just sent a text the other day to somebody, and I'm like, I'm going to preface this by saying, I want you to be you, and I want you to be totally fine saying no. This has no bearing on our relationship. Like, I laid it all out. And then I asked a question, and then that person came back hemming and hawing, like I knew they would, because I can see them. I understand that. And I need them to know. And then the answer came out that I was suspecting, and I'm like, great, not a problem. Moving on.
Yep.
But you have to establish those foundations first, right? And you have to establish those trust factors and really see the other person and recognize that maybe they're not there yet.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm getting to that point where I can say, yeah, honestly, it would be easier for me if you did it.
Right.
But this is what it took to get there, Scott, which I think is super.
No, this is important.
This is the stuff, right?
This is
I say, Scott, would you mind pulling one more clip? I want to be able to send it directly over to Christy. And you said, yep, not a problem. And then the conversation continued where you said, oh, none of the other clips that I pulled are going to fit. And I'm like, unfortunately not. And by the way, it's funny because we thought they were going to fit. And then Rebecca and I listened to them and we're like, oh, I'm sorry. The guest didn't even make an appearance in any of those clips, right?
I want to role play. You tell this, and then I want to role play how he could have responded differently and how you would have reacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he can see it and digest it and see how that feels.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
I love a little role play.
Especially on Valentine's Day.
We've done that again. Okay. So then you said in that moment, okay, so that in my mind, because I'm able to read between the lines, that was a level 1 indicator of bummer town. I really don't have the time to be able to do this. Are we positive that those other clips aren't going to work?
Yeah.
It then went to next level 2 bummer town, which was you saying, oh, I removed it from frame, which is where we do our review, right?
Yeah.
Which then indicates to me, okay, now it's an even extra step to get one of those clips, right?
Yep.
And then third level bummer town in that conversation was you said, you had turned it around and said something like, well, if you were to select one of blah, 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 blah clips, right? So what I'm able to do in that conversation that I'm really honest with you, I don't think is normal, nor do I think this is part of my training. Like this is not something people just normally do.
You just know him. You're seeing through his lens,
Yes.
his responses to your question.
Exactly. What I'm hearing between the lines is you saying, I said yes to something. I said it quickly because I care about you. And at the end of the day, I don't really have time to do this. And I will do it, but I'm going to get it to you late. And I don't want to disappoint you if you wanted this done by today. So what I did in that moment intentionally, Scott, was I said, would it be easier for you if I just picked the clip? I let you off the hook that you didn't even know you had been on in order to give you the freedom to say, yes, it would.
I recognize that. I recognize that you did that. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. I love that.
And I also recognize that my first answer, because I know you and I kind of knew what you would do. I knew that if I let on a little bit that it might be difficult, that you would come up with a solution for it.
Yeah.
But why couldn't you just...
Yeah.
Okay, so let's role play.
That's a really great point because I got to tell you, Scott, that's one of my biggest anger points with the human race is as someone who's able to read between the lines and let people off the hook. I am forever the one who has to take responsibility for the conversation. Yeah. And all I beg for at the end of the day is for someone to not have to put me in a situation where I have to let someone off the hook, that they cared about themselves. And this is a little convoluted and I don't always know if this is true, but it's true in my mind. I think if they cared enough about our relationship, then they would let themselves off the hook to then not even have me be the one to do that. So it's like a responsibility factor for me. And I get very frustrated that people don't have the skills or the ability to manage their own. And so then I'm the one who ultimately has to manage it. Now, that I'm not saying that specific to you in this case, Scott, because we're real new in this type of, learning and boundary type relationships. But the longer we are in a relationship or the longer I've known someone, if they cannot get on the boat of being able to take accountability for our relationship and to own, I need to let myself off the hook before we get there, that's when I start to get really frustrated because I'm like, I don't want to have to constantly be the one managing and taking care of your inability to set a boundary earlier.
But you're not great at communicating that to other people.
No.
So you'll just keep it and shove it deep down.
Yes, I would agree with
where
that.
I am pretty clear.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
You feel those things.
Yes.
And we'll talk about those things, but you would never you would never have this conversation necessarily out loud.
Really interesting.
To anybody.
But
maybe not anybody, but certain people.
Yes. What I did do to Scott, though, is that next level, after I said after I essentially said, I'll let you off the hook, I'll do it. I followed it up with, and this is the little tiny, asterisks on this, because I agree with you. I'm not always very clear about coming out that clearly and saying it. But what I do say is, I want you to know in the future that you are
in the future, Scott.
I want you to know in the future, you have every single right to tell me that you can't do something.
Right.
And I will still care about you and be on board with you and see you. Right. So in my mind, I'm communicating in my mind, that's clearly to the person. I want you to feel comfortable doing this. But what you're really pointing out for me is that is different. And in some ways, that's a passive way. If I was being really direct, I would have said, Scott, I need you to be clearer about what you will and will not do earlier so that I don't have to manage that later on. And I want you to know that I value and appreciate your ability to be able to set a boundary because when you can't, it's going to make more work on me. And I don't want our relationship to be built on that work. That's a great call out because I think I'm so clear with people about that. And then I'm constantly disappointed about why do you keep doing this?
Right.
That's a great call out.
Yeah. So for the role play situation, I would say...
Oh, I love this.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Wait, which part do you want me to
start from the beginning?
At? Okay.
Scott, I'm Scott.
Scott, can you please get another clip of Christy that I can have her just post on her page that references the More Love podcast?
So one of those 6 clips that we already went through don't work? ?
Then I would get defensive.
Why?
Because,
no, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, I know, but just so you know, I would feel defensive in that moment because I would be like, in my mind, I'd be thinking, no, Scott, they won't. Do you think I'm an idiot? You don't think that I already reviewed the 6 clips?
Okay. So
yeah, interesting.
Okay. Different response.
Okay. Scott, can you pull a clip of Christy for me?
Yeah, tell me more. Tell me what exactly you're looking for and when do you need that by?
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I just want to.
It is about you, Scott. Yeah, you sure can.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I like to be involved in this slaying. So
fascinating that you saw it as a slang.
I'm gonna
fascinating.
Okay. I was joking.
Fascinating that you saw it as slang. Sarcasm is a form of hiding true feelings. It's fine. Yes, Scott?
Anyway.
In my mind, I need a clearer picture of what if I'm the receiving.
This was the text that I got. Was there a clip that I requested that was just mostly of Christy talking about something interesting? I would like to give her a clip to post on her page with our logo on it so we can attract some of her followers. Mm-hmm. I responded, I pulled everything you noted, but we can pull another one. I think I removed it from frame. Would you be open to finding one that stuck out to you and putting it in the folder? Sure thing.
Wait, who
I said sure thing.
Oh, so you asked him, would you be open?
Would you be open to finding one that stuck out to you and putting it in the folder? I said, sure thing.
Wait, that's the problem right there. You should have said, well, possibly. It depends on the time frame you're looking for. Because in my mind, I already know that you now have to watch a freaking 2-hour episode and find something.
I'm going to say the problems before that and the problems with my initial text.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
I know.
What did
2024?
Wow, okay. All right, Scott. Now it's time to slay herself.
Listen, yeah, I'm slaying myself.
All right.
The problem is with my initial text.
Okay.
Yes, the problem's with my initial text, and here's why.
Okay.
Where that text was coming from was I thought Scott missed a clip. Because I'm a Capricorn and perfectionist and we don't make mistakes. So in my mind, I had clearly identified a clip that was just about Christy. And I thought that because that was my full intent all along was to have one of those. Mm-hmm. So if I was really being not passive in that text message and I was being honest or like really straightforward, I guess I wouldn't use honest because it was honest. But if I was being straightforward in that text message, I would have said, Scott, I feel in my soul that I identified a clip that was just for Christy, but it wasn't in the mix that you gave me. And so now I'm starting to feel like maybe you missed a clip. Would you mind going back and re-looking at those clips to find out if you missed one?
Okay.
He would have said no.
I would have said I removed it from frame so I can't look.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I would have been unable to look at it. So
okay.
Okay.
And
then I would have said, so in my mind, that would have triggered, okay, so even if it was, then it's gone now. Like we're starting over.
Right. Okay.
So then my question would be, okay, so what's the best way to identify a new clip for Christy? And you would have said what?
Go to watch it on YouTube and give me the times. Because that's actually what after all the other crap in there, that's where we ended up. Whereas if you can't, you said, does it have to be done on frame? I said, no, you can go to YouTube and you can look at it, find the clip and tell me the times and I can go pull it from the master project.
So look at the difference in the outcome where if I was being really straightforward about my original intention, which was Scott missed something. And then Scott was able to respond to the fact he might have missed something or he might not have. But the reality is we don't have that footage anymore.
In the capacity that you normally review footage.
Yes.
You do have the footage, but it's just different.
Right.
Yeah.
I would not have asked in that second scenario for Scott to be the one to go look at the YouTube clip. I would have innately done that because I knew that the clip no longer existed. So the assumptions that are in just those 4 back and forth texts in the first is you missed something and I'm not calling it out directly, but I'm letting you know that I would have sworn I've done that. And then his response, which is, I don't have that footage anymore, which still continues my assumption that Scott missed something and now it's going to be put on me to have to go manage this thing that Scott forgot, right? Then fuels the rest of the conversation, which is essentially annoyance that Scott missed something. And then Scott is like, well, I might or might not have missed something, but now I have to go back in and look at all of this stuff when I already pulled 6 clips for you. And the reality is I usually pulled 2 or 3. So I already pulled enough. So the conversation that's happening outside of the real conversation is what we were tending to, I think, Scott, in that text message. And it's like a posturing, if you will, of trying to figure out in a very kind, not rude way, how do we ultimately get to that clip?
Yeah.
What would you say about that, Scott?
What do you mean?
You said yes, like you wanted to say something else.
No, what you said is exactly how, makes sense to me that's what we were trying to do. And both of us were trying to get our, agenda across or whatever, accomplish what we're trying to accomplish without hurting the other person or without offending the other person or without being rude or any of that kind of stuff, and it's interesting that with all of the best intentions on both our parts, it could go sour.
Oh, of course. But that's the beauty of establishing such a good foundation that you can be like.
But I will say, while I know I'm not perfect, there is a built-in sort of system with Frame that every time when there's a comment, like when there's a thing that you do, I have to check off that it's done when I do it.
Scott, that statement would require me to acknowledge that I was incorrect about something, and I'm not there yet in 2024. Okay, so I need us both to allow me to live in the land where it was missed.
It's possible. But what I'm saying is that I have to check all those off, and then I change it to approved when all the things are checked. Like that's my system, but that doesn't mean that my system is flawless, because my system of doing things in here is also like I get a text when I'm in the middle of doing something, which brings me to this, which brings me to that. And then I come back and, I did that. And I click it, but I didn't do it. You know what I mean? So it's not foolproof.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The important part for me in this conversation is I needed to be able to acknowledge when you just read back that initial text message, it hit me in such a different way, because I'm like, no, that wasn't actually what I was communicating. And as someone who constitutes herself as a very clear, open, honest, straightforward communicator, the reality is I was not that way with you in that initial text message, Scott, and it changed the entirety of the conversation. Now, not in such a way that ultimately we were not in a good place. It was a totally fine conversation both ways.
Yeah.
And thank God for that, because I think the first version of the conversation is how many people communicate with one another. But your point that just a small subtlety in language change or an onus or a leading with what you're thinking as opposed to couching it in language that sounds a little different is something that can lead to deeper communication, deeper connections, and ultimately still get your needs met in a really appropriate way. Had we not discussed this today, right, we still would have been completely fine. But I would continue to walk away feeling like, oh, God, Scott said he could do something and then he reneged on it. And that's annoying because now it's going to put more work on my plate. And you might have walked away being like, God, I really go above and beyond for these girls, and I really identified way more clips, and she needs one more, and she wants to put that on me as well, right? And that would have been a totally appropriate and reasonable response for you to have, not because it's going to change the course of our relationship. Now we're going to hate each other, next week, but that those little things over time continue to build up. So you start to see themes. So the next time something happens, you're seeing it in that light, right? And you're like, there's another time that Scott took advantage of my time.
Yep.
This happened to me with another client.
Sure.
There was a client who, I don't even know if I should talk about it, but there was always, from her side of things, there was always a problem. There was always something. And it wasn't really a problem. It's just that she didn't understand podcasting. She didn't understand the technology and had issues with how things were happening. And I was like, that's just the way it happens. And because we didn't have this kind of a conversation, it ended up getting nasty. I ended up saying, well, you're more than welcome to transfer your feed to your own and start your own account if you want. If this isn't working out for you. And she was like, whoa, what are you talking about? I was like, all right, well, every time you text me or email me, there's a problem. There's something that you don't like. And I always feel like I'm doing the best I can, but I'm never able to please you. So as far as I'm concerned, you could just take your business elsewhere.
But
I try to say it in a nice way without sounding like a dick. But it's kind of impossible. Like just implying it is bad,
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
That's such a great example. Instead of saying, if this isn't working for you, you could take your, ball and go home, essentially. You could say something like, I'm noticing that every time I give you something, I feel really bad about myself afterwards. Like I've not produced something that was to the quality that you needed it to be. And so I'd like to work on that, or I'd like to know more about where that might be coming from. If we can just change our language a little bit from more of a passive communicating what we're trying to communicate to a more direct communicating, I wonder how that changes conversations. And maybe that's the goal, right? Maybe that's what we work on.
Do you know what the main block to that is?
What?
Ego.
And you know what? You know what I would say it was? Trust. Isn't that interesting? I would say there are very few people that you can truly have a direct, let me tell you how I'm feeling about this conversation, a vulnerable conversation. I feel like something was missed, and I don't like when things are missed.
And you know what
and they can hang with that. They can hear that. They can stay with that. They can keep their defenses at bay. They can manage their own reactions, and that they care enough about that relationship that they're willing to go through the muck together. I don't think that basis of trust is there in enough relationships to be able to do that regularly. Why would you say ego?
Because if it's implying that now the person has to, I don't know, you're acknowledging that you're wrong or something in some way.
So ego is a mask for vulnerability.
I think so. So, you would never, because that, when you do that, when you admit you're wrong or admit that you could be wrong, that's really opening yourself up. And a lot of people can't do that. There are a few people that can do that.
Again, that's a skill.
Sure, absolutely.
My first time that I ever really owned up to my own fuck up was when I worked for the cruise line, and we had to go out on the ship for a week and do a shoot for it was a casino video. So we had to go in, and during the day the casino was closed. So we had, at port. So we had to go in and have the casino workers set everything up like it was open and do all this video outside of their normal job. So it's very taxing for them. Sure. And we came back and there were 5 or 6 shots that I didn't have. And I could have made an excuse. Well, the guy was shitty, or this happened or that happened. I said, you know what? I missed it. I screwed up. Let me call the ship and see if I can get them while they're in port. It's 5 shots. We'll be in and out in 2 hours. And
changes the conversation.
My boss, who is the biggest douche that I've ever known, and gave me PTSD from that job. He had nothing to say. He had no way of getting, okay. It was what you say when you own up to something and say, hey, I fucked up. I'll fix it. I'll do the best I can to fix it. What are they going to do? Yeah, you better.
Yeah.
You better fix it or stuff.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Changes the conversation.
But it's still to this day hard to do. I try really hard to own up when I know deep down that it's me. And I don't even like to make excuses when I know the excuse is actually real. This happened. No matter what it is, it always ends up sounding like an excuse. It sounds like you're trying to shirk responsibility. And
I feel very different. I feel like I can take responsibility, talk about it, and then say, what can I do different? Do I always apply what I can do different next time? Because I'm sometimes a creature of habit. No, but I do try my best. But I can very clearly see where I made a mistake. And then I'm like, oh my God, it was all me. I did that. I didn't follow through with what I said I was going to do. I missed that. I should have had a checklist, but I thought I could manage it all in my head. Or,
but I just didn't. You do that excessively out of a need to get back to stability in the relationship. And
that's probably true.
The reality is that's a defense mechanism in a different way, and you get back to stability and you are open to owning what you need to own. But in the conversations where I've said to you, wow, you're really like taking a lot of ownership for a lot of this stuff. Can we process, the middle ground on this? You're more likely to come to the middle ground and then to get angry about the fact that, well, yeah, this is why I did this. And this is what makes sense, right? So I do believe that you are a thoughtful person who wants to own what they need to own at the end of the day. But I also think that the opposite may be true for some of our listeners. On my end, I'm going to hardly ever own anything. But for some of our listeners, they might completely relate with you in terms of over accepting, which is not necessarily because I just want to learn and grow and I want to be better. It's more of it's an opposite defense mechanism of being vulnerable. Yeah. Because I'm so scared about this relationship not being okay. And I don't like when things are not okay that I'm actually going to go to the extreme end of accepting responsibility for everything so that we can just be done with this. Right. And then I'll take my, what I need to take at the end of the day. And then I'll go on and like, okay, good. We're good again. Right. Right. Yes. So 100%. Yeah. I bet there's listeners on the call who relate with both of those and maybe are even somewhere in the middle. 100%. But what I want to end by saying is I really appreciate the ability to be able to have this conversation because, one, I think it provides an example for other people about what can be different. Yeah. You now also have a glimpse into what poor Rebecca has to deal with every single day of her life.
Sometimes multiple times.
Usually multiple times a day. And
for 20 years.
It's just a nice reminder to me that we're all trying. We're all doing the best we can. And when we think we're doing the best we can, like in the example of the text message from me, it's also okay to say, that was my best in the moment. And also I could have done something different. And for you, Scott, to then give me grace to say, oh yeah, that probably would have sounded different is how we create safe environments for this type of learning and growth to change and be different. That, to me, is the power of having more love. Yeah. That if you're leading with love, if you're giving love, if you are assuming people are coming in love, that's, in my mind, what can change the world. So,
happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I loved that.
Me too. Isn't empathy amazing?
Well, we're amazing. I don't know about all this empathy stuff.
That's fine. I accept you wherever you are.
Oh, God.
I love you.
I love you too.
And if you love us, please like and subscribe to More Love, the Power of Empathy podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.